Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's a great day to be alive, especially when you consider the alternative. How's it going? Well, it's going fantastic for me, and I kind of wanted to, this is a different type of video. It's kind of a self-realization type video. I was thinking, and I felt like sometimes when you're thinking stuff, some of the best thoughts and self-improvement and so forth comes through your thoughts. Why not record some of them? So one of the things I was thinking about this morning was my fears, biggest fears, and it's hard to when you try to think about what's your three biggest fears. Because I was watching a motivational video, because I try to do that in the mornings, and it was mentioning about trying to face your three biggest fears. And it took me some time to think about what my three biggest fears are. And one of them, I don't know how I'm going to face it, how I'm going to deal with it, but it came to mind as I was thinking. So that's why I wanted to make this video. So, number one biggest fear, it's been the biggest fear since I was a kid, and I had nightmares about it, is death. As odd as that is, and I don't know how I'm going to face that. Because facing that would be living the best life you could possibly live, would be the best way to face that. Second fear would be failure, losing. Anybody who watches my stream with video games knows I hate to lose. I hate to die. And failure is something that I hate so much. But it's part of life, and it's part of what helps build your character and make you a better person. Because if you didn't fail, you wouldn't know what you need to improve upon, or you wouldn't know where your issues are. So failure is very important. So that would be my second biggest fear. My third biggest fear was that was a hard thing for me to think about. I really had to dive in deep and really think hard about what's my third biggest fear. I'm not really scared about it very much. But you got to think of it from a different perspective than just, oh, I'm scared of cats, I'm scared of dogs, whatever. No, my third biggest fear is uncertainty. While I was in high school, and as a kid, I had thoughts of possibly being a salesman, a lawyer. But one thing that came to mind while I was in high school was I want to be an actor, and that came out a lot. And I would look at actors that I looked up to, like Morgan Freeman, Jim Carrey, Denzel Washington. The list goes on. And I'd be like, man, these guys are so talented. But I'd look at myself at that time and be like, I have no acting background. There was a lot of people who were thespians and so forth who would do the drama club and drama and acting, and they would do the whole shebang. They went to colleges for it and so forth. I was uncertain. And with that uncertainty is why that's my third biggest fear. And the reason why what came to that conclusion is I think about my future. I think about what happened in my life. Out of high school, I was uncertain, so what did I do? I joined the military right out of high school. Why? Because it's going to pay for my food, it's going to pay for my living expenses, and they'll pay for college if I take advantage of that opportunity. Unfortunately, I didn't. I'm going to do that now, but I didn't while I was in the military, and I regret that a lot. But again, uncertainty came into place. I was uncertain. What do I want to do in life? Join the military, it gives me a path to figuring out what I want to do in life. So I'm in the military, I'm doing my thing in the military, and the easy route comes to mind at that time frame. The easy route is spend 15, 20 years in the military. That's not easy, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's easy. People who do that, you didn't do anything wrong. I'm not saying that's easy. That, for me, in my mindset, for me at least, would have been the easy route, because then, hey, I got a retirement paycheck the rest of my life. I could do whatever I want to do. Boom. Easy. Well, 10, 11 years into that time in the military, as you probably already know, I made one of the biggest mistakes in my life. My marriage was failing. My ex-wife was constantly negative, just bringing negativity in my life. She would constantly be negative to me. When I made a mistake, she would make it 10 times worse. And I would deal with that in the wrong way. I would drink. And in drinking, it made things worse. I started having problems in the military because of my drinking. It was blending into my military lifestyle. Because I was actually, before that last year, I actually was, a lot of my soldiers looked up to me. A lot of the senior NCOs said, "Hey, you have a promising career in the military. Hey, I see you being a staff sergeant soon." I had a lot of potential, and then it started going down. And then that fatal day, I decided to drink and drive was like a slap to the face. It's a reality check in the worst of ways. So I ended up getting that DUI, and I ended up getting kicked out of the military, general under honorable discharge, which I plan to change eventually when I submit a letter to Congress or whoever I need to submit it to try and get that changed to an honorable discharge. Not to get back in the military, but just because I want to change that title so I can tell my girls, my daughters, that I served my country honorably, because I did for 10 years, and the last year was the screw up. But anyways, with my rambling, that was a slap to the face, that situation. So here I am, riding my bike to work. I'm a specialist for the last several months of my military career. I was a specialist instead of sergeant. So all the soldiers I'd been in charge of, I was now working with. And then top that off, I ended up having to do extra duty for that period of time. So when most people would have the opportunity to look for jobs, I was cleaning toilets. So I had to ride my bike to PT in the mornings, past all the other people that I worked with who were riding in their cars, embarrassed as fuck, excuse my language, and then clean toilets at the end of the day. It didn't help my mentality. So to try and make myself feel better in that time of uncertainty, I looked towards drinking and being a man whore. And I just focused on those two things because I wanted something to make me feel better about myself. I wanted something to make me happy. And that was the wrong decision. And it only further made me go downhill, to where eventually I was homeless for 2 weeks. But the funny thing that came to mind, during that man whore phase and so forth, of me looking for a job and so forth, the first job I ended up taking, when I got out of the military, I didn't even realize it was a sales job. It was credit card sales. And within 2 weeks, I had made my first sale with no sales background whatsoever. $900 or something I got from that sale. It was like, whoa, what is this? And it's funny because when I was a kid, growing up, I remember my mom and my dad telling me that they thought I would be either a good lawyer or a good salesman / businessman. I always would tell them, I want to be an actor. I want to be an actor, whatever. It's funny how things come to play later on in your life through circumstances without you even realizing it. So, and now I'm in a job now that I've been successful in doing constantly better and better and better for 3 years. And I'm kind of a salesman. I'm not really a salesman. I knock on doors. I create leads. I'm a lead creator, lead generator. But I constantly get told by people, you'd be a great salesman. Why haven't I pursued that more? I'll tell you why. Uncertainty. Uncertainty has held me back. And that's why I believe, honestly, that's my third biggest fear, is uncertainty. I was uncertain whether or not, because I had spent so long of not taking college, of not doing schoolwork, I was uncertain of whether or not that I could do it. Whether or not I could take the time out of my life and focus on schoolwork because of my lack of my attention span and so forth. I was like, man, I don't know if I could sit behind a desk and listen to a teacher teach me and write a bunch of stuff, do some schoolwork, homework when I get home. I don't know if I have the attention span for that. I'm uncertain. I'm very uncertain. So I'm going to face those three biggest fears. Headstrong. I'm going to go for it. Because I believe in myself. And I believe that I can get over those fears and my uncertainty just like I believe that you can too. If you're uncertain, if you have 3 big fears that are holding you back, face those fears. Maybe it might not happen instantaneously. Like I always tell you, everything takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But realizing your 3 biggest fears and facing them and head on, just take it. Go for one of them. The video one of the videos I was watching was mentioning how you go for the easiest of the 3 biggest fears and then work your way up, like kind of like steps. You hit the easier one, then hit the harder one, and then hit the harder one. Do that with your life. And it's like I always say, you're unstoppable. Nobody can stop you but yourself. Don't let yourself hold you back, because you're destined for great things and you know it. And you're only holding yourself back. Nobody else is. Because you are great and you need to realize that. So I hope you all have a fantastic day. Back to you in the studio.